Rhaenyra Marr. I am a board member of Turning Point. I am an attorney. I am so honored to be here, and I cannot thank you guys enough for coming out. I know it's really difficult to come out so late on a Wednesday, so the fact that you are here is a testament to Turning Point and the important work that it does. So thank you so much. We have an amazing program for you tonight. I want to remind everybody that tonight is a fundraiser, so please, if you haven't already, founder of Turning Point. Without further ado, Rhaenyra.
Thank you so much for coming out tonight. As Amira said, on a Wednesday evening, if we've managed to get all of you here, that means you have good hearts and hopefully good pockets as well. For those of you who don't know what Turning Point does, or maybe I just make you familiar with it, this is the first non-profit to be founded in New York City to address domestic violence in the Muslim community. A Muslim community, domestic violence is rampant in all communities. It's a reality that exists. It's not one community that has more than the other. Every 9 seconds in America, a woman is abused. And not all of them are Muslims, not all of them are non-Muslims. The place where we differ is that the Muslim community in New York City doesn't have the resources to respond to the issue of domestic violence. And often people are in denial about the prevalence of it, or how often it's happening, how badly it's affecting children and women and girls. And so we thought it was time for us to step up and start doing this work. We've been around 9 years. It will be on the 1st of December. In the last 9 years, we have served almost 900 women, girls, and children. And it's not, we do crisis intervention and counseling, and we have support groups for women. We do a lot of fun events for them. And so that's responding to the crisis, the issue of domestic violence that's putting women and children and families in so much danger. On the flip side of it, we feel that we have to do something that will prevent this from happening as well, because we can't just constantly respond to crises. So what we did very early on was we started a youth development program for teenage Muslim girls, where we teach them leadership skills, communication skills. They learn the value of civic engagement and community service. And the whole idea is to help them develop their confidence and self-esteem very early on. So when they grow up, they make the right choices. And should they find themselves in difficult situations, they know what to do. Many of them come from homes where abuse is going on. And when they look around and they see the silence in our community, this pretense that this is not happening, that everything is hunky-dory in the Muslim community, and we know that's not true. It really creates a lot of conflict in the minds of these young people. And we try and address them in multiple ways. One of the issues that came up for our youth was bullying and hate crimes in public schools. An enormous number of young Muslim kids were being bullied in schools, and non-Muslim kids are being bullied as well. So our youth group got together and envisioned this Arise New York project, which is designed to address bullying and hate crimes targeting Muslim and non-Muslim youth. And they go into public schools, they go into libraries, they do workshops, they talk to young people, teenagers, what to do when they're being bullied and how it is not okay to be silent about it, and teach their classmates as well, because it's become a huge problem. And the message that many of us are getting from the larger society also is in the aftermath of 9/11, that somehow it's okay to do this. And so we're not the only group. There's African Americans, there's Hispanics, Latinas, everybody is being targeted. But we need to teach our children how to deal with it rather than let it affect them in a negative way. So they need to learn how it affects them and what they can do about it. And so that's one of the programs we do. Our flagship youth leadership program is called Mecca to Manhattan. And Mecca to Manhattan Muslim Women Moving Mountains. And we have a leadership training for young Muslim women every year. Each year, almost about 20 women participate and graduate. It's just a beautiful and very popular program. We have a very small staff of just 5 people, out of which one is a volunteer counselor and the other is a youth intern. So we basically just the 5 of us doing all the work that we do. It keeps us very, very busy. We have a small space and our resources have been shrinking for a while. So for years we've been planning to expand our space and bring in more staff and really offer services in more languages. We have not been able to do it for various reasons, and so we're looking to the community for support. My thanks to our guest speakers tonight. They're very special people. You know when you hear them speak. One of them is my former professor and advisory board member, Dr. Gary Marin. He's so accomplished that you probably need a whole day to read his resume. And then we have Bassam Tariq, who's a film director. Many of you who may have seen his film recently. They've been so gracious in giving us their time. I want to thank our host committee, our incredible young people, all the women who've been here working, Aisha, Amira, Asma, Bindu, Hina, Khadija, and Rani, and 2 of our newest members, Yusuf is somewhere here, and Kamal, I think, will make it. I hope that all of you have a wonderful time tonight and take a pause to recognize the importance of the work Turning Point does and how much of a difference it makes in the underserved and under-resourced community like ours. As you approach the holiday season, please remember that a donation of just $100 pays for 20 Metro cards, that each time a woman comes to us for services, we give her a Metro card because she doesn't have the means to come for counseling or services. That's how little it takes to get them to come. And whatever you donate, we are very transparent. Our accounts are all there for the public to see, and every penny that we get goes to support the work that, the services that we provide and the work that we do. So I thank you. I hope you have a wonderful time. Thank you.
Singer-songwriter, Amnea Higazi. Her songs are beautiful, powerful, and focused on social justice, so it was no surprise that I thought of her immediately when we decided to hold this fundraiser. On behalf of Turning Point, thank you for donating your time and your talent tonight. And if you all like what you hear, please see Amnea. She has CDs for sale for just $5, and she also has cards where you can follow her on social media and all of her contact information. So without further ado, Amnea.
Father wasn't looking to give her away. The women started to dance and they started to sing. What a beautiful wedding, they said to the bride, never stopping to think she was broken inside. And he said, yeah, yeah, habibi, you must stay home and raise our family. Yeah, yeah, Hayati, I want my son to grow up just like me. Thank you, guys.
So for the sake of time, I'll refrain from going through it all, and instead I would just like to thank Dr. Mallon for coming to speak with us tonight. We're honored to have you.
It's embarrassing to have a resume that long. Anyway, thank you so much for inviting me. And Rubina has been so kind to invite me many times before to many events, and I rarely am able to come because part of my work at the research center is I travel constantly, and I'm actually leaving at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to California. But I knew when Rubina called this time that I'd be here, and I really wanted to be here as well. But I just want to tell you a little bit about kind of how Rubina started this whole idea. She was my student in 1987. It was 1970, that was a long time ago. 97 to 2000 when she graduated at the Hunter College School of Social Work in New York. And Rubina was one of those students who was totally, I would say, on a mission. And she's still on a mission. But she was one of those students who you knew was going to actually do what she said she was going to do. You know, I work with hundreds of students and they're great. I love working with students, that's why I teach. But, you know, you mean some students have great ideas and some of them carry them out, and some of them you kind of know they're never really going to carry them out. Because it's really, really hard to do something like create a place like Turning Point. And I think particularly in the time in which Rubina decided to really launch into thinking about Turning Point, it was even more challenging. But you know, when you have a visionary person who is driven and they have this passion and this idea to do something, that's a remarkable thing. And I think people like that need support. But also, I think that when you meet people like that, there's two kinds of people like that, right? There's people who do it and it's all about them, right? And then there are people who do it and it has nothing to do with them. It's really about what they're doing for the larger group. And that's Rubina, that second person. My partner's here, and I told him the other day, I was talking at something, I got all choked up and didn't realize why, but I'm doing it again. But it's because when you really meet somebody who kind of has this passion and this mission for doing it, it's like really incredible when they're actually able to do it. And you're the one who should be crying, not me. I think the other thing I remember what Rubina did is it was so hard to make this work. And I remember having lots of conversations. I remember one time that we went to dinner at this great restaurant like Queens Boulevard when I lived in Kew Gardens, and Rubina lived nearby. And her kind of pouring out her heart, saying how difficult it was to do the things that she was doing after 9/11 and all of this other stuff. But just running an organization and starting it from scratch and making it work is a really remarkable thing to do. I mean, most people don't do that, or they do it and it fails quickly. And then they say, okay, well, I tried and it didn't work. But she's been at this for so many years, and if you know her, you know she is relentless, right? I mean, she finds me wherever I am and emails me and texts me and calls me and is like, oh, Gary, please, I need your help, please, Gary. I know that you're busy, but can you help me? And it's so hard to say no. Not that I don't want to help her, but just because I'm doing a million things, I'm always like, you know, kind of stretched. But I think it's so important to say yes to people like Rubina, and one of the reasons that I guess you're all here tonight is because you're want to do that and want to be part of this. Thank you for having me here tonight. I can't wait to eat this wonderful Pakistani food that I've been doing.
Gary speak. And this is the man I keep saying was the first one who believed in Turning Point. He was the first one I picked up the phone and I called and I said, Gary, do you think I'm crazy? And he said, no, this is tough work, but you know you can do it. And so if he hadn't put his trust in my vision for Turning Point, I don't think we would have been here. I also, Gary talked too much about me. I want you to know that I don't do this single-handedly. I was remiss. I didn't name our staff. They're all, 3 of them are here. Najia is our social worker. Please come to the front. Maha, where's Bisma? And Nadia may have left. Maha is our youth leader. She keeps our youth work going. There's Bisma, who's our domestic violence counselor. And Nadia, who's our youth intern. Please give them a big they make a lot happen. I couldn't do it without them. Thank you.
And that to me was really profound, because what's interesting is that when you start organizations like this, there are a lot of naysayers. There are a lot of people that don't believe in things like, you know, a domestic violence shelter. These are things that we don't talk about in our communities. And, you know, we have to respect the shame and dignity that our culture brings. But I think that privacy also leads to a lot of trouble. So with that, you know, if you can, please open your wallets very generously, because these are the organizations that, you know, when we look back at this maybe 15, 20 years from now, it should be as ubiquitous as these ambulance services are, that you can't think of what Karachi would be like without the EV ambulance. And just like that, services like these really hold our community together. Thank you so much.
Alicia